any detail in the Greek, you discover, no. This is a personal letter to a lady. What a lovely description, the elder to the elect lady. And you can tell that this is written later in John's life because he's now referred to as the elder, not for his age, but for his status in the church. He's an elder, the presbyteros. He's just known as the elder. And if you were to say the elder, everyone would know, oh, it's John. He doesn't have to say John. You know, if you were a Christian around the 1950s or 60s and you were in London and you say, I'm going to church on Sunday and I'm going to hear the doctor. Everyone will say, you're going to hear Martin Lloyd-Jones. So in the same way, if you're in Ephesus, you're going to listen to what the elder has to say. And straight away, it's John. And what a description of this person that he's writing to. The elect lady. It's interesting because in the original, the word for lady, kuria, was also a name that would be given to women. But I think he's writing to someone as you read the letter and as it unfolds, a lady within the church that he knows well. Because at the end he says, the children of your elect sister greet you. A lady who's hospitable. A lady who seems to have a ministry of hospitality to those who visit wherever she is and preach the gospel. Because it's a letter that contains instruction for her, encouragement for her, and warning for her. Look, there you have this ministry. I need to write to you about this and advise you. And it helps us. There are those who have a ministry of hospitality. It's an underrated ministry, but it's an essential ministry. It's a wonderful ministry. There are those who may not be able to preach, may not be able to teach, may not be able to go out on the streets giving out tracts. Maybe they're not that kind of personality that can meet people and talk about the Lord Jesus Christ. But at least they can cook them something to eat. At least they can invite them into their homes, maybe put them up for a night or two. A warmth that brings people into a realization of the love of Jesus Christ in a demonstration so practical, so simple, and so loving. And I suspect that that's the kind of lady, the elect lady, who John is writing to here. And of course, elect lady means someone chosen by God, called by God into a relationship with him through Jesus Christ. Now, when we read a letter, we begin to get to the heart of what the person has at the forefront of their mind. What kind of person writes this letter? And sometimes within the content of the letter, you don't just get instruction, you don't just get something that would advise you or help you. You get something of the person, something that might be hidden under the outward persona. And that's one of the wonderful things about letters. And I believe you get that here. What is the driving force of this man, John? What is he trying to get across in his first letter, in his gospel? What's at the foremost of this man? And it comes out in the very first words, and it comes out throughout the letter. And as we've been through 1 John together, we can see emerging from this the great theme that is right at the heart of this man, John. Love and truth. To the elect lady and her children, whom I love in the truth. Love and truth, as far as John's concerned, come from the heart of this man's experience of Jesus Christ. In the English Civil War, 1644, the Battle of Marston Moor was a turning point in that civil war. It was a bloody battle. The parliamentary troops lost under 300 men, but the royalist army lost over 4,000 men. It was a great victory for Parliament under Generals Manchester, Fairfax, and then on the left flank, a man called Oliver Cromwell. And so you imagine in the aftermath of that battle, there would be a great sense of victory. Only one letter survives that particular battle. It was a letter written by Oliver Cromwell. And you would think this man would be basking in the glory of that great victory, believing that God had delivered the parliamentary army against the forces of the king. But let me read to you something of that letter. Remember, this is Oliver Cromwell, whom history reviled after the Restoration as this merciless man who slaughtered innocent people. A man who I believe is the greatest Englishman who's ever lived. This is the letter. It's written to a man called Valentine Wharton. It's about the battle,